Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Everyday Ecom Podcast. I'm joined with Dan Hall. How's it going, my friend?
Good. Thank you. How are you?
Good, doing well. Glad to connect again. Um, I know we've been connected on social and jumped on some calls and got to know each other. And maybe introduce yourself, where you're from, what your company does, maybe a little bit background, and then we can jump right into it.
Sure. Yeah, I started my own little Amazon agency called Scenic Drive Sales and Marketing. And yeah, I started on Amazon about 8 years ago with a company up here in Maine called Buyer of Maine. And I transitioned that company from Vendor Central to Seller Central. Kind of just self-taught myself on everything Amazon. Um, I did everything, the advertising, inventory management, forecasting. Built the listings. When we started, it was first just copying and pasting everything that we had on our website. And then obviously, as I learned more about Amazon, learning how to optimize the listing and, utilizing the search terms and what people are actually searching for. Um, Eventually hired an Amazon agency to help us with that brand. And then 2 years ago, I took a job with a larger Amazon agency. And I think just working directly for a brand for so long kind of tainted me for agency work. So I found that I really wanted to work directly for a brand. And that's when I got a job last year as an Amazon director for a company called Guardian Baseball. And then pretty much as soon as I took that position, I started having people reach out to me on LinkedIn asking me if I did any consulting of my own. And so that's how my agency kind of started snowballing from there. One client turned into two, into three, into four. And then, to the end of last year and beginning of this year, I really made the push to start my own agency. And so now that's what I'm doing, trying to grow that. And yeah, so I do most of the SEO, the search term research by myself and in optimizing listings. The graphic design, I have some partners in the industry that I utilize to do that type of work for me. But as far as the advertising, I do all the advertising myself manually. I don't use any software for bid optimizations. I do use some software for bulk updates, and if I want to, look at a campaign and say I want to lower all the bids by 25%, and then increase the top of search, because I notice that's getting a better ACOS or
Mhm.
something like that.
What
But
what is that software? I'm curious.
yeah, I use Solozo.
Logo, nice.
Yep, yep, they've been
Yeah,
a
I
great
know those
partner.
guys.
Yep,
Really, really neat guys and a good company.
yep.
Um, Kind of going back on your initial point of vendor, transitioning from vendor to seller. Um, did you guys see a positive lift on that? Was it better in your eyes, or was there some advantages on the vendor side as well?
Yeah, so with Vendor Central, I think this is true for a lot of brands. It definitely is for a lot of brands that I talk to. Their margins just get hit really hard, with all the chargebacks and, they're coming after you for discounts and, so at the end of the day, the margins were just really, really low. So, looking at Seller Central, you control the pricing, you have just more control over your brand. And then obviously the increase in margin. So initially, you could probably expect a decrease in volume switching from Vendor Central to Seller Central, but your margins are going to go up and your money to the bottom line is going to increase. So um, it's a slow process, 12, 18 months at least probably before, you build that volume back up, you optimize your listings and everything. But I think, in the long run, that's what I would advise most people to do.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because within our mastermind, million dollar sellers, we had a local meetup about a month ago, and one seller they're doing about 100 million plus with Vendor Central, with auto parts, and they were mentioning that's the best decision they've made. Now, granted, they have a large catalog, over 1,000 SKUs, completely discontinued Seller Central, and they said their margins were relatively the same, considering that they're not spending on advertising anymore. So PPC costs would hit them heavily. So it's interesting to see now. I'm sure there's always going to be like this wave of seller vendor. I think you have to take every detail into consideration when making that analysis. But it's interesting just to see different perspectives and hear what's working for people, what's not.
Yeah.
Kind of walk us through maybe brands that are that have started their journey on Amazon, maybe off Amazon, just solopreneurs that have started their e-commerce journey and maybe have a product or two, have scaled it to, let's say 20, 25 sales a day. What is your advice to them to continue at that scale and keep growing, and maybe specifically keeping it to Amazon? What would be maybe 3 to 5 foundational things they have to do in order to continue to be successful selling their products on Amazon?
Yep. I think you definitely need, go for FBA. A lot of people will say, well, I just want to see how my products sell, so I'm just going to do seller fulfilled. And then if they, they're doing seller fulfilled and they're selling, maybe 5 a month, even, the sales just aren't there. In my experience, you increase your sales by 25 to 40% just by having FBA inventory, to have that Prime eligible purchase for people that have Prime. They're in the larger cities, they can get it in 1 day or same day, and then most everybody else can get it in 2 days. That's obviously a big part of the decision-making process for consumers out there. So that's one thing. Definitely have to have FBA. And you also want to send in, at least 60 days worth of inventory. Get your projections. I would say 60 days worth of inventory, because Amazon wants to see that you're willing to invest in the inventory, so that they will promote your products in a roundabout way. However, there's best choice or, top seller badge or, any of those badges. They want to see that you're sending enough inventory to convince them to promote your product, to give it the extra push. And then same thing with advertising. If you have low budgets, they want to see you increase your budget, because they don't want to have you run out of budget, because they're promoting your product, and then you run out of budget, right? So obviously you need to have a healthy advertising budget. And a lot of people will ask me, well, how much do I budget for an advertising campaign? And obviously it varies, but I think most people with a new product are probably going to want to start out budgeting 20% of their projected sales for advertising. I think the goal is to get that under 10% total ACoS at some point, right? And of course that depends on the dollar value of your product as well. If it's a $500 item, it's probably going to be less than 20%. But if it's a $49 item, 20% is probably where you want to start, and then work it down from there. And then another thing is obviously all the listing optimization that goes along with it. You have to have a really attractive main image. There's some things that you can do other than just having the product, straight on a white background, right? There's some things you can do with your main image to make it stick out in the search results from all of the other results.
On that point, how do we know whether or not our main image is the best that it can be? How do we determine how to optimize that main image?
Yep. Well, you can do some A/B testing within Amazon, but there's also something called PickFU, which is kind of like I guess you could call it a social media network, where you could you submit your 2 different images to a group of people, and they kind of vote on which one they would be most likely to click on. So that's a good resource that I know a lot of sellers use.
So yeah, obviously that increases, and yeah, PickFu is great. We've been using IntelliV as well. Basically, like kind of like you said, social media, social feedback from real people, not bots or anything like that. Amazon has their own as well. So, so the purpose of that is to increase click-through rate, right? Because you have a beverage bucket you're selling as an example, and there are 100 other sellers selling the same thing. How do we increase the clicks on our image or on our listing? So main image would be, I think, like more than 50% of the attraction. It's like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Obviously, price, reviews, all of that is in that slot of what people are seeing on desktop, or as they're scrolling, what they're seeing Amazon suggest. After they click, we want to increase the conversion. What would you suggest are some good tactics to increase conversion rates? I know there's a lot, but maybe some things that you guys are seeing with your brands, or other competitors that you're seeing that have really good conversion rates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all of the secondary images, especially on mobile, I think are the most utilized piece of the listing. People are scrolling through those images and the videos. So I would recommend, besides the main image, no images on a plain white background. Like, dress everything up. Make everything either a lifestyle image or an infographic. And in every image, at least 2 or 3 of the other images, I would put a lot of call out information, a lot of details about the product. So take your top selling features from your bullet points and put it into the images, so that people get most of the information they need to make their decision on the purchase. And also you're telling them all of your main selling features right in the infographics and the images.
Yeah, that's valuable. I think obviously having that the video kind of unique that stands out. We've tested like a collage of images on the last image of all of our customers doing like a little selfie or whatever pictures that they have. We made a collage and say over 10,000 happy customers with the 5-star reviews, kind of putting social proof. I think a lot of it comes down to testing, and obviously checking our data to see, okay, how's our conversion rate been last month? How was it this month? And kind of tracking all those details.
Yep, absolutely. Lots of testing.
Yeah.
And analyzing.
I also had another question that slipped me, but maybe going to A+ content. Obviously now if someone's on our listing, we don't want them to leave. So we go main image, we got them to the listing, secondary images, they're there, they're checking it out, they're seeing the features, seeing if this is right for them. More often than not on mobile, the enhanced brand content is right after the last image. As they scroll or they're swiping, it goes straight into enhanced brand content. What's kind of the strategy of enhanced brand content, that A+ content? What do we put there? What's the goal as they're scrolling, as the customer is scrolling there? What's the goal for us as a brand to make sure that they purchase there?
Yep.
If they don't leave.
Yeah, so for the consumer, it's, I think, just really attractive images. Think of like Amazon posts. They recommend you use really good, eye-catching, attractive lifestyle images, and then, got to make sure you get their attention. Again, no images on a white background, just plain product images, and then again, some more selling features as a call out type of image. Um, you know, and then I know you can do, I think some people can do videos in the A plus content even. So obviously that's very powerful. There's premium A plus content that some people are qualified for. And you want to be careful with those modules because, there's like, they utilize a lot of carousel type modules in the premium A plus. And for instance, like the comparison chart, there's a lot of drop down options in the premium A plus, and that doesn't come through on mobile. I've noticed on some products. So the comparison chart is great because people can compare 2 or 3 products or more right on the same page. But with the premium A plus, some of the comparison charts, you have to hit a drop down menu and see what the features are of one product, but then you lose the features of the other product. So you can't really compare them side by side anymore. So just be aware of that, how your premium A plus comparison charts and some of the other details are displaying on mobile.
Yeah, we've actually before we used to do comparison charts, I've completely had the team go away from that only because I don't want to give, like, especially now, it's getting so competitive, so cutthroat. Every like space we want to occupy with our brand. Why us? I don't want to give like an inch to another competitor. So I'm trying to highlight, like you said, more lifestyle, more why the customers would be happier if they have this, why it would solve their problem if they have this, just more positioning it for them to, okay, I need this, like this is going to help me tremendously. But again, I think it all goes down to testing because maybe if it's maybe an electronic product, yeah, you want to highlight features compared to another listing. So I think it's all dependent on the brand. I wanted to ask you, came to mind, Amazon recently added a lot of more data points that weren't available previously to brand analytics, search query, performance reports. Are you guys seeing that? Are you guys utilizing it? I know it's kind of new and uh, even for us, some of the data is off compared to business reports. So I'm communicating with our account manager and seeing what all this data means. But are you guys using that data, checking to see what you can glean from there?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I want to know, if there's a certain search term that I'm converting well on. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you which ASIN that search term is converting on, as far as I'm aware anyway. Actually, a former colleague of mine posted on LinkedIn a while back, kind of a guide to search term performance query. And I saved that post and I never got back to it. So I should probably go back and review that. But yeah, I don't typically, I utilize my advertising campaigns more so to understand which search terms are working for my products, and obviously Solozo, I use that as well to, so that I can check the same search term across different campaigns, and understand where it's working and where it's not.
Yeah, I think of course PPC is gonna drive most of it. What something that it's helped us with is just to see there is an ASIN drop down. So I think so there's the brand view that gives a total keywords, and then I think there's an ASIN drop down where you can check per ASIN. So they're constantly adding to this and making it very helpful. But the thing that it has helped us with most primarily is seeing our top keywords, seeing how the market is converting on these keywords from a add to cart, from an impression add to cart purchase perspective. Obviously, we're looking at that purchase column the most and seeing, okay, on this keyword, the market as a whole is converting at 5%. We're converting at 2%. Why is that? On this key, like this is our top keyword. The market is at 5%. So now we look at the top 10 listings and check what do they have that we don't on this specific search term. We search that on Amazon, go through the listings, oh, they have this keyword in an image, and it's very relevant to that audience that's searching. Okay, interesting.
Mhm. Yeah,
Let's
right.
incorporate that. Or we're converting higher on a specific keyword than the market. Okay, let's milk this. Go on PPC. Go very heavy on PPC with this keyword. Um, so I think it's very fascinating. We're still learning a lot. I think it's pretty manual, so hopefully there's some softwares out there that can
Mm.
automate this. But I think this is things that we have to do as sellers to kind of stay ahead, and we're learning a bunch of this stuff. Um, Kind of transitioning to you guys as an agency, maybe yourself. What would you say is your biggest superpower when it comes to Amazon? Like, you have a brand that comes to you. Is it a specific category that you guys can hit out of the park? Is there a specific service on Amazon that you're like, dude, I'm gonna hit a home run on this every time? Kind of share your
Mm.
experience on that.
Yeah, I mean, probably my strength would be the advertising and the search engine optimization work. I do really in-depth keyword research with Helium 10. I have a very, I don't know, so far to me, I haven't found anybody that does the same thing that I do as far as the keyword research and building the spreadsheets and the competitor ASINs, and just comparing, where our ASIN ranks compared to all of the competitors. I built that spreadsheet out across the board so I can see, okay, we're ranking 31st, but these 6 competitors are ranking inside the top 10. What am I doing wrong? Kind of like what you were just alluding to.
Mhm.
Um, and then also advertising. My advertising management is very manual. Like I said, I don't use any AI bid optimizers. I don't even use the Amazon dynamic bids. I go right for fixed bids. And I manage that all myself. And I'm managing over, $150,000 a month in ad spend just by myself doing all of this. So, and I've been doing it this way for 8 years. So I've got it pretty much down pat now. So yeah, I would say, the keyword optimization, building organic ranking, and the advertising, which kind of, work hand in hand, right?
Of course, of course. And then kind of your guys's biggest challenge that you saw in 2022. I think we're kind of at this point in ecom where everything's a little flat. There's everything that has been done to scale has been done, and there's been an outpouring of competitors. Anyone that can sell on Amazon has gone there. What was kind of your guys' challenge? It's like, okay, this is getting tough. We need to look at this. And then I have a follow-up to that in opportunities in 23 going forward, but maybe challenge in 2022, then opportunities in 23.
Yeah. Man, I think the biggest challenge is Chinese sellers in the lower dollar, items, high volume, lower dollar items. These Chinese sellers are they're dominating, with every black hat tactic that they can think of when it, is, falsely attaching listings to a listing that don't belong there so that they can get reviews, or getting fake reviews somehow, or getting fake purchases it's just, so I'm advising my clients, if you have a product that you want to sell, or that you are selling or thinking about selling, do the competitor research and understand who's playing in that price point, right? So for the most part, I mean, let's look at items that are priced $25 to $50. And you look at the competitors, in 75% of the competitors are all Chinese sellers at lower pricing. I would recommend look for a similar product, a better product that you can sell for $69, $79. That maybe you're just going to compete with the big brands, but you're not competing for those lower dollar sales. You're going to get maybe a lower volume, but a higher price point and a higher margin. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big challenge. It seems like for the past 5+ years, Chinese manufacturers are kind of upping their game. And then I guess on the flip side, I think there's ways to combat that, like you said, build moats around the product, increase quality, increase value, um, and just I think a bunch of other ways off Amazon that just acquiring customers, like a legitimate business, having a loyal fan base. Obviously, that might not work for a garlic press or these generic products, but I think those days of Amazon are kind of over, and it's time to level up our game. I guess on the flip side, what opportunities are you guys seeing for 2023, and kind of adding a lot more gas to the fire of our business?
Yeah, I think yeah, building your brand off of Amazon, kind of building a following off of Amazon. It's kind of like what brands did maybe 15 years ago when everybody wanted to get into the retail stores. But they couldn't because the buyers were buying their same old product. Well, then, smart brands went and they built their own following. And then when the consumer started going into the retail store and saying, "Hey, do you sell brand XYZ?" Then all the retail stores were saying, "No, why is everybody asking about this brand, this new brand? Okay, well, now I need to reach out to the brand and seek them out." So I think brands need to do that. And obviously, TikTok is huge for a lot of brands, building your brand awareness. And then kind of, once your brand gets out there, people are going to go, Amazon's the biggest search engine now too, right? So people are going to start their search process on Amazon. So I think that's kind of,
Yeah, there's a hearing I think right now going on in Senate for TikTok. So interesting to see what happens with that platform. But yeah, even I think Facebook ads have been uh, not as good as they were in the past for us, but we're still acquiring customers. We run some event campaigns where we can get some additional push notifications sent to our audience groups. Um, we've tried Reddit subreddits, creating our own subreddits, going into other subreddits. These are the works that don't seem to scale at first, and we've gotten so comfortable with Amazon, as big as they are, selling and pushing our product, that we're kind of forgetting
yeah,
the other platforms that are out there. It's like Amazon is great, but what can we do? What else can we do to grow our customer base? Like that's the lifeblood of our business.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And, if TikTok goes away, that the
The idea
process,
doesn't go away. The concept,
exactly.
there's going to be YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
Sure, Twitter is talking about short form content. That idea, I think TikTok is. I personally hate it. I can't stand the platform. I don't have the app. But it's kind of like a necessary evil. I see it as.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting to see that short form content kind of blowing up.
Yeah.
I've heard of people. We haven't gotten like I can't attribute sales to it, but I've heard of people with just one TikTok influencer posting linking to their Amazon that's gotten over 100K in sales. So
Mhm.
I think I'm a
Oh,
little
and
late on that.
and along with all of that is the brand referral links brands need to take advantage of. So whatever you're doing, wherever you're doing it, if you can incorporate the brand referral links, you're going to get 10%, right, back for those sales. So that's a huge benefit going into 2023 as well for those avenues.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think kind of searching for these products on Google or Amazon, it's still up there, but the algorithm recommendation or the influencer recommendation, we're scrolling, we see this product that's captivating, like those are driving a lot more sales. Cool, man. Well, this has been really helpful. Kind of gotten a good jolt to kind of look back into our process, see how we're implementing a lot of this stuff, if we're missing anything. So I'm excited to kind of take from this and go apply it. How can people connect with you if they have any questions around some of this stuff, or just want to pick your brain, see if their brand can be a fit with you?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So LinkedIn, I'm on there quite a bit. Dan Hall, search Dan Hall, Maine, Amazon, something like that. I live in Maine, so I put that as kind of in my link so people could help, find me easier that way. My website is scenicdrivesales.com with a little bit of information about, me and the agency and what I do. Kind of my unique approach to the agency world is, I don't charge a monthly retainer fee. I charge an hourly rate with a small commission fee. So I like to say, for those brands that are kind of stuck between, I've taken this brand as far as I can on my own, but I can't quite afford an agency for $5,000 to $10,000 a month. I've kind of built, I think, a good avenue for those brands to get some help on Amazon and start building and having more control of the budget on how much they want to budget towards that growth. Yeah, check out my website. Look for me on LinkedIn. I'm all about teaching a man how to fish. So anybody has any questions, please reach out, and just want to help people conquer Amazon.
For sure. And I'm gonna leave those links in the description below, guys. So if you're interested, comment below. One free comment or one comment is also gonna win a free call with myself, just to consult, go through any questions that you have. So anyone that comments, I'll pick a winner next week for the video. So Dan, my friend, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully we can connect again for some other topics, go more in depth. I'd love to catch up in the future and see how things are going, but thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate your time and this platform you gave me. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We'll chat. Bye.
All right. Take care.